Thanks for joining us here for the Haas Continuing Student Application Q&A session. We're excited to talk to you about the application and the process. But before we do that, as always, we're going to do the land acknowledgement. So the Haas School of Business recognizes that UC Berkeley sits on the territory of Huichin, the original landscape of Chochenyo-speaking Ohlone people, the successors of the sovereign Verona Band of Alameda County. This region continues to be of great importance to the Muwekma Ohlone tribe and other familial descendants of the Verona Band. We recognize that every member of the Berkeley community has and continues to benefit from the use and occupation of this land since the institution's founding in 1868. Consistent with our values of community, inclusion, and diversity, we have a responsibility to acknowledge and make visible the university's relationship to Native peoples. As members of the Berkeley Haas community, it is vitally important that we not only recognize the history of the land on which we stand, but also we recognize that the Muwekma Ohlone people are alive and flourishing members of the Berkeley and broader Bay Area communities today. Okay, so we're gonna get into a few things tonight, but before we do that, I wanted to introduce our team. So I'm Monique, I'm the Director of Admissions here in the Haas Undergrad programs, and I'm joined by Asha.
Hey everyone, my name is Asha Nathaniel. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm one of the associate directors of admissions on the team. Nice to be here with you all.
Thank you, Asha. And then our other teammates, Diana and Katie, are also associate directors, and you'll have the opportunity to meet them at some point if you come to our office, or you'll see them online or something like that. But before we get into things further, I just want to welcome you all and thank you and appreciate your interest in the business major. I know the application process can be a little bit overwhelming. It's definitely time consuming. So I hope that you take a few things away with you tonight after the session. So the key thing is we really just want to know about who you are. So be honest about the experiences you want to convey, your values, anything you think is really important about yourself that you want us to know, not about what you think is important about Haas that you think you're going to benefit from that you want us to know about. That's not the point of this. The point is to get to know about who you are. The other piece is that we get a lot of applications, but I can assure you that each of them is read and evaluated with great care, and we take our time to read your applications. The other thing is that myself and my team are here to help you through this process. Asha and I are here tonight. We usually don't work this late, but we're here because we're happy to get the opportunity to chat with you and support you through this process. And then the last piece is you're going to crush it. Don't stress too much over this. As long as you tell us about who you are and you're honest and authentic, that's going to take you a long way in this process. All right. So in terms of the agenda, we're going to do several things. So first, we're going to go over the admissions requirements. Actually, Asha's going to do that. And then we'll go through the application process. We'll share some resources, and then we'll answer your questions. On that note, if you have questions, the Q&A function should be open and working, hopefully. So, you can start dropping in your questions as you have them. You can upvote other people's questions to make sure that we answered those ones that are really top of mind for y'all. So let's get into it. So the first part, again, is admissions requirements. So I'll pass it to Asha.
Cool, thank you. All right, everyone. So for the admissions requirement for this pool, it requires the completion of the Haas prerequisites with a grade of C- or better. So the prerequisites are all listed out there for you. So it's foundation of business or something equivalent, 2 semesters of calculus, economics, statistics, and 2 semesters of reading and composition. You'll also need 60 semester units. So this includes the AP, any AP, IB, or A-level credit or other college credit that you have. Once you're a student at Berkeley, all of your prerequisites must be completed at Berkeley, with the exception of UGBA 10 or those 2 reading and composition semesters. So you must be in your sophomore or junior year at UC Berkeley. And your prerequisites may not be older than 5 years. So for this cycle, that means nothing older than fall 2020. And I'll pass it back over to Monique.
Awesome. Thank you, Asha. On that, make sure you go through those admissions requirements and that you're eligible to apply, because if you apply and you're not eligible and you don't meet the requirements by the end of the spring semester, you just wasted your attempt at applying. So remember, you can only apply to the business major one time, so make sure you're eligible to apply this year. Okay, so now we're going to talk through the application process. Before we do that, a big part of this, I'm sure you all have seen this quite a bit around campus, but academic integrity in the application process. So, we want you to stay in accordance with the code of conduct that the university has. And the expectation is that any materials that you're submitting as part of your application are, your own. So it's okay if you're going to use tools like AI to help you develop your brainstorm of what you want to write, or proofread your essays. That's totally cool, but you shouldn't have it writing for you, because that's not authentic in terms of getting to know who you are, and also to hear your voice through this process. The other thing that I want to say here too, and that you're going to attest to when you submit the application, is that if we determine that any part of your application has been developed with outside assistance, or any misrepresentation or omission of facts, that you may be denied admission to the major, or you might have your admission canceled after the fact. So keep this in mind. Use the tools to help you kind of get situated, but we really want to hear from you directly. All right, so in terms of the application and the different components, what's in the application? So the application opened on Monday. We hope you've had an opportunity to take a look at it. But these are the different components if you haven't opened it just yet. So there's the academic record. We're going to report, the Haas prereqs, the classes you took to fulfill the Haas prerequisites and the grades you received. Then there's essays. You have 2 essays that you're going to have to respond to. One is basically like why you're interested in the major, and the other one's an option between 2 prompts, and you're talking about the DLPs. And then there's one optional essay. Then there's the activities and awards section. You're going to list out, it's basically your resume. You're just going to list it out there. And then the last piece is the video interview. And you're going to, tell us literally in your own words about yourself and your experiences. And that's a really fun part for us to review in the application. Okay, so in terms of the self-reported academic record, this is what we're looking for. We're looking for you to complete the prerequisites with a letter grade of C- or better by the end of the spring semester. You need a letter grade for those prerequisites, and nothing pass, no pass. If you took classes pass, no pass before you decided you wanted to apply, you need to email us a letter from the department or the instructor stating what your letter grade would have been. And then in the application, as you're working on it, there's a little grade key at the top there, but if you're taking classes right now, any prerequisites right now, you're just going to enter IP for in progress. Okay, in terms of the essays, so again, you've got a couple of them. This is a little bit of context setting for you, so keep these things in mind. The culture here at Haas is very much built around the defining leadership principles. So if you haven't had an opportunity, I highly recommend you take a moment to review those and think about how you align with those in terms of your values, any experiences you've had that you want to share or relate to us that align with the defining leadership principles. So that's a really great way for us to help understand who you are and the fit for the major. The other thing is that we're always, in terms of the admissions committee and our review of your application, we're always looking for a reason to say yes. So kind of relax yourself a little bit. Like, we want you to be successful in this process. Admittedly, we know there's not a lot of spots in the program for all of you to be here. And, we'd love for all of you to be here, but that's not, the state of where we're at right now. So just know that, like, as we're reviewing your application, we're not judging you. we're looking for a reason to say yes to why you should be in the major. The other thing that we really care about is authenticity, and I've said that a bit tonight already. So be authentic with us. We want to hear about about who you are. So share as much as you feel comfortable sharing with us. And then the essays help us fill in the gaps and help paint a complete picture of who you are. So we get a little bit in your activities and awards. We see the classes you've taken, but the essays are really an opportunity for you to like we said, fill in the gaps. Tell us a little bit more. Help us understand. And then the last part is we're looking for a strong rationale for the business major. So in that first essay, please don't write, I'm interested in business because it touches everything in the world. That might be true, but you could say that about a lot of majors on campus. So don't do that. We want to hear about why you're interested in the major. And you should have a pretty good sense of what you are looking for in terms of like industry you want to go into, or even if I want to be a CPA at a nonprofit, that's great, tell us that. But again, don't not those broad strokes about what you think in terms of business and leadership. Okay, some quick tips on the essays. I've said it 1,000 times already, but be authentic, tell your story. Please don't just list your achievements. That's what the activities and awards section is for. Be mindful of the word limit, and then make sure you're answering those prompts, because we are also evaluating in the essays, your writing ability, and also, the way you organize your essays, and if you answered them fully. Some additional tips and things to consider is, have you addressed the prompts completely? Are there any obvious punctuation or spelling or grammar issues? And then consider, does your essay give us a sense of who you are? Does it show us your experiences instead of telling us about your experiences? And then I just want to stress here, please don't just tell us again about who you think Haas is or what you think Haas is about. We already know like Haas has cool classes and resources, but we want to hear about you. So please don't say like, I'm excited about working with this faculty member or taking UGBA 100 or something like that. That's not helpful. And then, yeah, do you describe your experiences in detail, or you're just kind of just saying it just to be saying it? All right. In terms of the activities and awards section, you probably are familiar with this. This is all in the application, but I just want to highlight a few things here. In your activities and awards section, you can include any family responsibility. So if you are helping out with your family, or you're working to send money back home to your family, or you're helping to care for younger siblings or an elder family member or anybody in your family, like, we want to hear about that. That gives us context about what you have access and ability to engage in, so please include it. And then it also demonstrates leadership. It shows us a bit about who you are as a person and what what's important to you. So feel free to share those things. We're excited to read them. And then what we're looking for in this part of the application is we're reviewing for leadership potential, the impact that you make, the time commitment and consistency you put into your activities. It's okay if you're jumping around in terms of activities, but the big thing we're looking for are the leadership potential and impact. So you can't make too much of those strides towards those things if you're jumping around and exploring a whole bunch of things. And then we're looking for accomplishments and contributions, and then levels of responsibility in your activities. You'll note here, we don't have anything about business experiences. So I just want to be clear here as well, that it's not expected for you to have business activities in terms of being in any Haas organizations or in business organizations, or have an internship or anything like that. We're not looking for that. You can see like these are just categories, but I just want to be clear here. We're not looking for business stuff. So if you don't have it, that's totally okay, because we know, some of these things have barriers to entry. Another piece on the activities and awards section, I think there's an unlimited amount of entries you can put, but please, we're people looking at these things, and that doesn't really help you. We're looking for quality over quantity. So please be mindful of that as you are entering all of your wonderful accomplishments and activities. All right, so those were the kind of main components, except for the video interviews, which we'll get to, I think, after this. So I just want to make this part clear as well. In the application process, you're going to have a few spaces where you can tell us more details about the classes you're in terms of like, you had maybe not a great experience, or you had to miss a week or something because you were out sick and that impacted your performance in the class. There's also the optional essay, a whole essay for you to tell us about what's been going on in terms of, like I mentioned, you're out sick for a week or something like that, or you're from SoCal and your family was impacted by the wildfires and you were impacted by that. So that's impacted your semester and how you got situated in terms of your academics and your activities. So please use that space. We are reading it. We provide it because we're going to read it. So take the opportunity to tell us about other things you want us to consider that we haven't asked you, because if you're going to wait to the appeal process to do that, it's already too late. We have so many students who are applying like that. If you're, like I mentioned, if you wait to the appeal to tell us this information, you've really missed your chance, because we are looking at your application so, thoroughly, that additional context as we're evaluating your application is a missed opportunity for you. So add the information, even if you're kind of just thinking like, I don't know, I don't want to put it because it sounds kind of whiny or something like that. None of you are whiny. Like, there's a lot going on in our world today, and we want to take those things into consideration. So if you feel at all inclined or thinking about like, you want to use that space, please just use it. Don't wait until the appeal. Okay, so that was a lot of information. I'm going to pass it to Tasha to go into some more information about video interview.
Cool, yes. So let's talk about the video interview. So this is a required component of the application, and it's really meant to provide applicants with the opportunity to speak on your own behalf. We know that like writing is not everyone's strong suit, so this is another avenue where you can kind of like tell us about yourself in a way that isn't writing. So keep in mind that you're not going to be evaluated on like how you appear or how you're speaking, if you're stuttering or tripping over words. It's more so that you're going to be evaluated on the content of your interviews. A couple of tips. So it's okay to share a story from your essay, but if you're going to include it in this portion as well, we ask that you do expand upon the example, so it's not just the same information. And the other thing that we've said a couple of times is just to really be authentic and try not to script your response, because it's meant to be a very casual, like off the cuff kind of thing. So, yeah. Okay. So into some logistics. So you will record your interview within the application portal itself. You'll have 90 seconds to read the questions before the recording starts. Um, and you'll show a photo ID when the recording starts, just really quickly before you begin answering the questions. You will have 6 minutes to answer 4 questions, and then you get 3 attempts total to answer or to submit your video interview. You can take as much time as you need between attempts. So if you do one like on Thursday and then you decide to do another attempt on Saturday, like and log out, that's fine. So long as you submit it before the deadline, you can take as much time as you need. And then just keep in mind, though, that you can only submit the last recording that you made. So if you decide to record again, but then you think, oh, I really did better the first time around, unfortunately, you'll have to submit that last recording that you made. Okay, so some troubleshooting things. So if you experience any technical difficulties while recording the video, here's some tips to keep in mind. So number one, it's best to use Google Chrome or Safari for the video interview. Make sure that you have the latest version of that browser downloaded. Ensure that you've enabled access to your camera and microphone. And if none of these things work, you can reach out to us at the email address listed there. It's uginfo@haas.berkeley.edu. And please do this immediately once you have or once you're experiencing this issue. Don't wait because we may not be able to help you if it's not a good amount of time before the application deadline. If you forget to show your ID, which happens a lot, you can email us a copy and then we can log that in our internal records for you. So hopefully you don't run into any of these issues, but if you do, there's some tips. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to do is just show you the application itself and just do a quick walkthrough. So I'll go ahead and share my screen here. Okay. Great. Okay, so this is what the application looks like when you open it up. You've got this great welcome page that we've put together. You have some important information here about the application itself. There's also instructions here. So it's a lot of material, but we do ask that you read through it because there's some key details and things that you don't want to miss. So um, again, we reiterate the application requirements, and then we have some important dates here. So you've got the date when the application is due, the last day to withdraw your application, how to do that, and when decisions will be released. And then there's also like information on what we're doing tonight. So the registering and our upcoming event, which we'll talk more about at the end of our presentation. So yeah, so this is the main instruction page. This is where you'll acknowledge or learn about the academic integrity stuff that Monique had mentioned earlier in the presentation, and then you'll go to the next, you'll click continue and go to the next page. The next page is about personal data. So it'll just ask you things like your name, your address, your email, your SID, things like that. Another thing to note here is that we ask that if you already have a declared major, that you put that information in for us. It's not gonna determine anything in your evaluation, but it's helpful for us to know as we're evaluating. Okay, so here's that. The next page is the demographics page. So this page is optional, but we do just kind of like to get a feel for our pool and have that data. So if you don't mind sharing, you can. So it'll ask you questions about your citizenship, visa things, ethnicity, all of these kind of things that will share, give us insight to the pool of who's applying. All right, so once you fill all those things out, you'll come to the academic record page. And then this is, all the information about what you need to adhere to when submitting your prerequisites, the grade key once again, and when you're ready to add in your classes, the way that you'll do that is by selecting Add New. You'll select which prerequisite you're wanting to talk about. You'll put that in. You'll say how you've satisfied this requirement. So whether it was like AP that you got the credit in or you took the class. And then if you took the class, you'll select that one. You'll add in the department and course number. And we've got the example here. So it would be like Calc 1. And then you'll do the course title. We've got a little example again. I should have clicked on statistics to make this easier, but like calculus 1, and then you'll put how many units, you'll put the grade, and then again, if it's in progress, you'll put IP. And then the college. So this just means like UC Berkeley, or if you took it at a community college, you can put like Las Positas or whatever. And then you'll add the term in which you took it. Okay. So here's that box of the, or one of, I guess, two places where you can put that in additional information, but here's where you can add anything about your coursework that you'd like the committee to consider. Moving on to resume. So again, all the instructions there. When you're adding a new entry, you can select what type of work it was. So whether it was volunteer, employment, lab, what have you, you'll do that. You'll have a space to put what organization it was, a description of your roles and responsibilities, what your title was, and then your start date and end date. If you're still currently involved with it, you can just enter March 31st as your end date. And then you'll talk about your contributions and the hours per week.
Asha, can I add something real quick
Yeah.
on this? Thank you. On the what she was just showing there in terms of the description of your, I forget what it says, but in any event, you can either do a narrative response or you can do bullet points. We don't have a preference, so do whatever makes sense for you. And the other thing too, as you saw those different categories for the activities, just organize it however you want. Like, I talked about family stuff. That's not really one of the options, so just put it anywhere. It's totally okay. We're not, judging where you put things.
Yeah. Thank you, Monique. Good note. All right, so once you fill all of that stuff out, you'll come to the essay section. So the first one is a prompt that everyone will answer. And then you'll come to the second one and you have a choice of either B or C. You'll select which prompt you're answering and then you will write it out. As we mentioned, option or essay D is optional and you can add in any information that you'd like the committee to have. So that's where that's found. And then last but not least, we get to the video interview portion. Again, you'll have the instructions and you'll start the test after making sure that you've got your updated browser and you've enabled the camera and all of that good things. So yeah, then you'll start the test and then complete that. Once that is done, you'll have a signature page to acknowledge that all of this information is complete and yours. And then you'll have a chance to review. Hopefully yours doesn't look like this. Mine only does because I'm missing a bunch of things, but yours should be good to go. And then you will just submit your application. Okay, so we'll go back to the slideshow. Thank you. All right, so the application, as you know, is due on March 31st at 4 p.m. Pacific time.
Cool. Thank you, Asha. All right. So on that note here, we want to share some resources with you. We're having an event next week, the whole week, and we really want to meet you, and we want you to get to know a little bit about us. Me and my team are evaluating these applications, so we're gonna read some of them, but we're gonna see all your names as we're doing our work behind the scenes. So we invite you to come to our office and say hello to us. You also could just, you don't have to say hi if you don't want to. You could just grab a snack. It's fine. But yeah, we want you to get to know a little bit about us as we're getting to know a little bit about you. So you'll get an email tomorrow inviting you to that and with a little bit more information about who each of us are. So you can maybe find a connection, something that we have in common that you feel more comfortable coming to us about. But yeah, we just want to get an opportunity to meet you. We do this work because we care about you and we care about students. So please come and say hello if you want to. We're also going to be, doing some advising. So if you have some quick questions about the application as you're going, we're happy to answer those. So that's going to be next week. The other thing is HBSA. Y'all are probably familiar with it, but in case you're not, it's basically student government here at Haas. ASUC, but not as much at Haas. For Haas students, they're hosting a essay editing workshop where they're gonna review your essays with you. So that's a great resource for you in terms of preparing your essays, getting some feedback on it from another person. So check that out. There's there's a QR code and the tiny URL. So I'm just going to talk a little bit longer so you can capture that QR code in case you're interested in joining those sessions. It looks like they're available by Zoom. So there's that. So those are some two events that are happening. And then just some general contact information here. Again, like I mentioned, we're excited to see you, get to know you, get to meet you. So come visit us if you want to, if you have questions when you're on campus around that vicinity. You can visit us in the Student Services building, or if you like talking on the phone, us millennials and Gen Zs love to do, you can call us. We'll answer the phone and happy to answer your questions. You can see our office hours there, or if you're more of an introvert like myself, you can just email us. You can email us. We're very responsive. We're checking email every day. So please know, if you're sending an email, it's not just going into a void. We're going to actually look at it. The other things you can use in terms of resources are our website to get to know more. Somebody asked, what are the DLPs? It's a fair question. It's a fair question. But if you're applying to Haas, you should know what the DLPs are. So check out our website. It's on there under the community section. Learn about our defining leadership principles. And then Instagram, if you're a social media person, we got some cool things on there if you want to hear about student perspectives in terms of being a Haas student, and also just additional resources. Wow, so many resources. Here's another one. We have virtual advising appointments that Asha, myself, and Katie and Diana also hold. So you can make an appointment to meet with us for 15 minutes to talk through anything that's on your mind about the application process if you have questions. But the one thing, and I'm going to say here, we're not going to read your essays or, edit them, because that's not our role. And we're also going to be looking at your applications once you're submitting them. So it's a conflict of interest. So please, come to our advising appointments. We want you to utilize them, but please know that we're not going to be doing that. We really just want to help you out with, any questions you might have about the application, or, questions about Haas or anything like that. Okay. Bit of questions. Here's that part of the session where we go into questions, and I think we've got a bunch of them. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and open up the Q&A section. Okay. Let's see. We've got a lot of questions. So like I mentioned, put your questions in the chat, not the chat, the Q&A, so we can prioritize those and make sure we're staying on track here. So upvote any questions that are really important to you to make sure that they get covered. All right, let's jump into it. We got a lot of questions. This question is coming from Anonymous. I'm not supposed to say name, sorry, but that also is just really an anonymous submission. I'm going to ask you, Asha. Or if you could just defer. You could say no. This is a little presumptuous. But how would you consider applying for classes for fall 25, since we won't know the admission decision until the summer? Yeah, let's just do that for now.
Okay, yeah. So what we typically advise is that you all plan as if as if you were not going to join Haas. Because if you do get accepted, you'll be able to get into your classes with a little bit more, I guess, priority, if you could say, because then it'll basically become labeled in Cal Central, and it'll give you an easier time getting into those classes. So plan as if not.
Awesome. Thank you, Asha. Yeah, don't worry about Haas classes. You'll get into them because you're going to be a student in the major. Okay, I'll take this one. How can doing pass, no pass for one class unrelated to Haas impact your application? And how many units per semester would be ideal? There's a few questions here. All right, so the first one, what if I took the class, pass, no pass? That's not a prerequisite. Totally okay. We don't care about that. That's totally fine. That's your prerogative. The other question is, how many courses or units per semester is ideal? Do what makes sense for you. Like, some students like to do a lot because you're in another major. That's totally fine. Or, you don't have the bandwidth for that. That's cool too. Take the minimum, take less than minimum. We're not judging you. Just make sure you get those prerequisites done and you hit those 60 units. Okay. The next question, this is a good one for you, Asha. Are we supposed to show our school or government ID?
Oh yeah, that's a great question. So it could be any photo ID.
Cool, thank you. The next question is, are you at an advantage to apply earlier than later? I think if you're asking about like submission of the application when you submit it, no, we're not reading them as you're submitting them. We wait till after the deadline. So take the full rest of the month to get it done. You're not gonna get an advantage. All right. Question for you, Asha. I took UGBA 10 as a freshman before it got changed to UGBA 10X. Is it the same thing? Should I be worried?
No, I don't think you should be worried. it's not the same, but the policy applies like once we made that change kind of thing. So it's okay.
Awesome, thank you. Okay, is there anything we should avoid talking about in the optional third essay? No, talk about whatever you want. It's fine, I just, don't do anything a little bit too wild. Like we are reading these things, uh, but there's nothing, taboo there necessarily. Okay, if someone late dropped a class during a semester and it dropped them below the unit minimum for that semester, will it look bad to the admissions team?
No, I don't think it'll necessarily look bad. That's okay. Like things happen. We understand.
Thank you. Okay, let's see. I think your slides mentioned that students have to take 60 units before the application. Doesn't matter if those are spread out evenly throughout the course of the 2 years, and do summer courses not taken at Berkeley count towards this. Yes, so you need to have 60 units by the end of this semester if you're applying this semester, and it doesn't matter how you spread or space those out. Do what you will with that. And then the summer stuff, yeah, that counts as well. So if you take summer sessions here at Berkeley, that'll count. We'll see that on your transcript, or in Cal Central. And if you take them off campus, make sure you get those transferred over to Berkeley as soon as possible if you're trying to use them to count towards your 60 semester unit requirement. All right. Ooh, video interview question. How many attempts do you get for the video interview portion of the application? And are the questions the same for each attempt? And how much time do you get in between attempts?
I love this question. Okay. It's the same questions in the same order. You can take as much time as you need between the attempts. What was the first part? Was it, did I cover everything? Maybe. Okay, cool.
Yeah, you got it. And then the other thing is everybody has the same questions for this. So yeah, everybody's got the same interview questions. All right. Is there something we must indicate on our application if we want to double major with the business administration? No, we're not evaluating for that. As Asha said, like we're collecting that information because again, we want to know who's applying, but it's not going to be factored into your evaluation. Uh, okay, we'll come back to that one for a minute. Is there, oh, this is a good one. Is there space to submit a full transcript or do you automatically have access to that?
Yeah, we automatically have access to that. So yeah, so you just enter all your prerequisite stuff and then the rest gets pulled.
Okay, thank you, Asha. Okay, if you have your own small business, is it worth mentioning? Would it be under employment or extracurricular? Uh, Asha, I don't know if you have any thoughts on this.
Um, that's a good question. I would say I feel like extracurricular, at least to me, is more so like different clubs and organizations that you're a part of. So that could, I think, go to employment. And I think, yeah, that's definitely something that we would want to hear about.
Cool, thank you, Asha. Yeah, definitely include it. We have students who have like Dpops, they have Etsy's, they got e-commerce stuff going on. So, or other things. So if you want to tell us about it, tell us about it. We're happy to hear about it. Okay. Upon doing my video interview on the first try, one of the video interview questions is the same as the essay question. Should we be approaching the questions with the same answer? I'll take this one. Not that you like need to use this, like don't use the same, like that's an essay. We're asking you in a short, video interview format. So use the opportunity to like expand a little bit more or to just, give us a different take, I know the essay is similar, but you could also pick the other essay if you want to, that's cool too. Or, if you pick that, just pick a different example. I'm sure there's a lot going on in your life that you can draw from on that stuff. Okay, going back to the top here. Is that 3 attempts per question or 3 attempts as a whole for the video interview?
Yeah, so it's 3 attempts as a whole. Um, and then yeah, like 6 minutes to answer the 4 questions each attempt.
Awesome, thank you. All right, fun question. What's the acceptance rate for applicants this year? So, yeah, let's just cut to it. We don't have a set number of students identified yet in terms of how many we can admit. Space is limited in the business school because now we have that 4-year pathway where we're bringing in first-year students to the major. So, it has been declining over the years. So, we did see a sharp drop off last year, and we're going to expect the same. But the continuing pathway is still going to be available. This time, though, don't know how many students we can admit. All right, the next question here is for the resume part of the application, there's a section for description of organization for every type of activity. If I'm listing an award from UC Berkeley, do I describe the organization of UC Berkeley?
That's a good question. Yeah, I would say add in a little description for us because we don't know every organization at Berkeley, so it may be one that we're unfamiliar with. So, you don't have to write a paragraph or anything, but just a little description for us about what that organization's about is helpful.
Awesome. Thank you, Asha. Yeah, like you said, it doesn't have to be perfect or super long. Just, go to the website, grab the mission sentence or, a clip it of the sentence that gets to the key point of what it is. So we have that context. Okay. Our applications between continuing students and incoming freshmen weigh the same. This is not even the same game. Like those students are coming in through a different pathway entirely, and they have an entirely different process from y'all. So don't worry about them. Are all of the attempts? No, we already answered that. Sorry. Moving on. Let's see. Okay, to what extent can I mention my experiences working at my family business? It was really transformative, but not sure how much I can talk about it.
Yeah, so you can talk about it as much as you like. Just make sure that it's really from your lens. Because if you were saying, my like family members did all of this to set it up kind of thing, or like, and all of the stories kind of don't really involve you or kind of how you contributed or the leadership things that you've learned from it, or any other DLPs that were involved with it, then that's not so great. But if it's more so like through your lens and your experience, then that's great.
Cool, thank you. Um, okay, let's see here. The next question is essays B and C are similar, but I noticed one of them mentions, the time frame of college. Why is that, and what's the specificity of that? Who knows why? No, I'm just kidding. You're college students, so we evaluate first year students. We're also evaluating transfer. You're Berkeley students. We want to know what's been going on for you since you've been here at Berkeley. So that's why we are interested in just this last bit of time frame of your life is who are you now? Because that's gonna give us some insight into who you are now instead of this thing happened to me when I was in middle school. That was a long time ago. That doesn't help us too much on that stuff. But that's cool. Okay, the next question is, what do I write in for the grades for courses that I'm taking this semester?
Yeah, so you'll select the IP for the grade part, and then the term will be spring 2025.
Cool, thank you. Okay, I'll give this one to you, Asha, if you like. The app instructions state about the transcripts. If you don't see the units for the exams or courses on your transcript, you need to work with Cal Student Central to get that all situated. How do I view my transcript?
Oh, yeah. So your transcript is available to you within your Cal Central. So I think, so is it the same for them? I'm not sure because I'm like talking about administrator view. So there's one that says like administrative transcript, but I believe that you all have the same button and should be there.
Cool, thank you. Sorry, that was a tricky one. Okay, I'll take this next one. Can I talk about experiences I'm doing in the optional essay portion that can't necessarily be included in the activity section or essays? such as a solo writing project. This is, like, if you could include that in your activities and awards section. That's okay if you want to include it there. I think that makes the most sense. The optional essays really like additional context you want us to be considering. That's kind of things like outside of what's already being asked of you. So I think, your writing project can slot in nicely into the activities and awards section. Okay. In the essays, is it acceptable to talk about high school experiences, or are you only looking for involvement during college?
Yeah, so as Monique mentioned, we're mainly interested in your experiences since you've been at Berkeley. If it's something maybe that you started in high school, but you've continued to do up until even this point, that's okay. But for the most part, try to stick to just your college experiences.
Cool, thank you. If we're still choosing what industry we want to work in after graduating, how specific do you need to be in that essay? Yeah, tell us as much as you can about what you're interested in, and it doesn't have to be about the industry. Let me give you an example. So some students will talk about like, and this has been a successful first essay. It's like, we want to know who you are and why you're interested in the major. So some students will say like, I'm from a small community that's been, we've seen a lot of mom and pop shops go out of business because, they're getting beaten up by big box stores, or they just can't compete, or they don't have the business acumen to help them be successful and thriving. So like, that's really impacted me because I see that in my community. I see how it impacts my community members, and I want to make a change in that area. So I want to give back, through helping those small businesses by consulting with them on how they can be a more successful business. Or I'm really interested in marketing and I want to help those businesses market themselves through like social media or something like that. So, in that essay kind of structure, you've told us about where you come from, because you can say, I'll just say where I'm from. I'm from East Palo Alto. And this is what my community looks like, and this is how it shaped me. I'm interested in business because I've seen how it impacts my community, and this is how I want to give back and make an impact on society. So that is another thing, and it hits on one of our defining leadership principles. And then you tell us a bit about the industry that you're interested in. So I'm interested in marketing, so on and so forth. So hopefully that was helpful. You can be broad, but you need to give us a really clear reason why you're applying to the business major. All right. Are applications and grades looked at after the spring semester is over? Will my GPA be looked at prior to the spring?
Yeah, good question. So, yes, so grades are looked at after the spring semester grades come in. And then about GPA, yes, it's already listed there. I mean, try not to freak out about that because, I feel like people put a lot of emphasis on the GPA, but yeah, these things do, factor in, but just know that it's not the whole evaluation.
Yes, thank you for that reminder, Ash. I want to underscore that we're not just looking at your GPA and making an assessment, like yes or no. We're looking at your whole application. That's why we ask you to do it. If we just wanted your GPA, we just pull it from Cal Central. Okay, so the next question is there a chance that we're going to look at your Berkeley application when you applied as a first year? No, we're not doing that. We don't have access to it, and we wouldn't look at it even if we did. Okay, if we have a new activity or award received after we submit our application, how do we let you know?
Yeah, so unfortunately, we don't have the ability to like edit the application once it's submitted to include all these great things. So you have to just talk about things that are currently happening right now. Like I love that we're all manifesting or like things happen after the application, but unfortunately, it has to just be things of the present.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Asha. That's clear. All right, we're getting close to time, so let's speed run a few questions and then we'll give you some tips. So Asha, think of, what you want to impart. All right. Is the webinar being recorded and posted somewhere? Yes, it's being recorded and we'll share it with you via email. If we write our essays in another doc, can we copy and paste it into the application?
Yeah, I think you can do that.
Cool. Let's see. Oh, in the video interview, are the four questions being asked immediately one after another, or is there a pause in between each of the questions?
Yeah, so they all appear at once on the screen and then you choose and pace yourself through those.
Cool, thank you, Asha. Yeah, make sure you hit all those questions though, because some students have answered only one question. That's you need to answer all four of them. Okay, let's see. Well, no. Yeah, no. Okay, we'll come back to that. In my transcript, it indicates how many AP credits I have, yet doesn't indicate which AP exams I took, nor my scores for the exams. As long as you submitted it to the university, your actual AP scores, you have the College Board send it to Berkeley, we'll have access to it through Cal Central, and you should be able to see that too, actually, in your transfer credit report. All right. If we took dual enrollment and okay, that's specific. Hold on. We'll come back to you. Oh, here's a good question. Can we talk to Haas advisors about the application?
Yeah, you definitely can. Questions about the process, questions about um, like logistics and things, that's all fine. But just remember, we can't like really give you guidance on your essays or if you should say a certain thing or not.
Awesome, thank you. Okay. Let's see. Would you recommend a more resume style type of description, or does it not need to be that professional? It doesn't need to be professional. You like I mentioned before, you can bullet point it. Yeah, just speak plain English. It's totally fine. We are not judging you in that portion in terms of your writing ability. That's what the essays are for. So, just tell us what you need to tell us. Also, another thing on those resume pieces is like, I'm sure you do this in other ones, your regular ones that you submit to jobs and whatnot, but quantifying your impact or your contributions is also helpful too. Okay, let's see here. Uh, if no, you already talked about that. Sorry. uh, yeah. Okay, we'll just do these two questions quickly. I'll take them real quick so you can think about what you want to say, Asha, in terms of a tip. But what does DLP mean? It's defining leadership principles. Please check out our website to learn more about what those are. So you know what you're signing yourself up for because that's all we talk about at Haas is those DLPs. Okay, and the next one is should we not mention resources at all? And like I said in that first essay about why you're interested in the business major, like I said, don't talk about, you don't need to tell us what faculty you're excited about or what classes you're excited about. We want to know about you. We don't want to know about Haas. Uh, okay, let's see. Maybe I'll do one more cheeky question here. Here's another one in terms of, being transparent. Is there a specific reason why spaces at Haas are so limited? Yes, there's a reason. Just like the other colleges and other majors on campus, space limitations and, also funding for programs. So those are the limitations we're butting up against. We'd love to have as many students in the business major as we can, but those are real constraints for us. In addition to the fact that we have, the MBA programs going on here as well, which is another great opportunity. So if you don't want to apply to Haas or you don't get in, you can still be a Haas student some point in your life. There's the MBA programs. All right, sorry, I've taken up too much time. Let's wrap it up with some tips. Asha, you have a thought or two?
Sure, yeah. So, okay, my tip is to try and give yourself more time than you need, or than you think you need, because this is, we get that like people are nervous. It's like kind of like an anxiety thing. So try to give yourself as much time as you can and submit the application early if you can and want to. Again, it's not going to make a difference in the evaluation portion, but it will probably help you be stress-free sooner. So that's my tip.
That's a wonderful tip. Love that so much. Mine is come visit us. Come ask us your questions. We're here to support you. This is not meant to be a game or anything. I've said this before, and also I've said this before. Please don't go to Reddit. Don't go to social media. They don't have the answers for you. We do because we're the ones reading your applications and we put this whole process together. So honestly, like we're doing more than we have before. So I want shout my team out for that we're doing a whole week of drop-in advising with snacks. And then we also got our virtual advising going on. And you can email us, you can call us, you can, bop, 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 bop. There's so many ways to get a hold of us. There's no excuse for you not to ask us your questions. We're here tonight because we're answering your questions, and we want to keep doing that until March 31st at 4 p.m. when we are done with our day, and you should have submitted your application. So ask us the questions. All right, it's 7 o'clock. Please stay in touch with us, and thank you for joining tonight. Thank you, Asha. You've been a fantastic co-host. Good luck, everybody. You're going to do great. Have a great night. Good luck and go Bears. All right, that was a bit much. I'm sorry, everybody.